Bam! Karen Lovely here. The power of self-evolution saved my life. I come from depression, suicidal tendencies since I was in utero. I mean, I came out as a crying baby, colicky, screaming bloody murder. I cried at the same time of the day, my mom said, and which is really crazy. And then I didn't want to eat. She had to dance around the table to feed me. So I had a lot of issues. I mean, a baby that's anorexic is a problem. And anorexia really has to do with the unconscious blocks of not really wanting to live. Hence, the power of self-evolution saved my life, gave me the will to live. But better than that, it actually has given me more than the will to live. It's actually given me the will to live for the first time in my life and then want to really go for it and stick around. So that's very powerful. It's one thing to have the will to live, another thing to go for it, live life to our fullest, highest, best potential, and really connecting to our gifts and talents. That is a big deal because consciously, most human beings know they have something very special. They're gifted in some way or some really great talents. And I do believe every human being has this glimmer of brilliance within, and we never have to prove it. It's not anything we have to do. It's already just there, inherent. But the key is to tap into it, to own it, and then use it for good and not evil, and sustain it for a long, happy, healthy, vibrant, fun, playful, wondrous life. Ta-da! So that said, woohoo! I actually have with me, hi there. You hear that?
Hi there.
Woohoo! This is a former client of mine, and she has the most beautiful spirit energy. And when we met, she was pursuing an acting career, and she came to me wanting that. And she's going to tell us more about where she was and how my coaching technology has helped her in many great ways. But she and I have stayed connected all these years. Then she stopped coaching and lived her life, and she'll fill us in on that. And then, ta-da, here she is again. And I asked her to be on my podcast because she is working through some new things, is planning to come back into coaching, and also she's going to share what she has gotten out of it and why. That said, hello, Jennifer Collins, actor extraordinaire. How are you?
I am doing so well. Thank you, Karen. Lovely. You have been a definite plus to my life, and you've really assisted me in getting to a different level. I just wanted to let you know that first off. Doing well aside from that.
Okay, so like me, you have had years and years of therapy. I have on and off since I was a child. I demanded it, basically, as a child. I was a very vivacious, yet introverted, introspective, depressed child. But vivacious, maybe that's not quite the right word. I was very demanding in that I knew what I wanted. And I'm like, I want therapy. Ah! You stupid adults. Yeah. Like, oh my God. So how many years of therapy before we met?
I did at least 25 before we met was 25 years. I mean, as soon as I got out of school and I figured out that was something that could shift my drift.
Yeah.
Well, I thought, well, I better go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
So I did 25 years of that, and before we met.
Mm-hmm. And so, okay, now I don't want to poo-poo therapy because it did a lot for me, but the one thing I never got, this was my experience, is I never got like answers, especially when I was in therapy for 5 years before my sister died in 2006. And several years prior, I'd gone into therapy. I walk in and I said, my sister's dying and I don't know what to do. And I laid on her couch for 5 freaking years.
Oh, God bless you.
And not to in any way put her down, but do you know we never really addressed that? And I clear as day never got the answers. Isn't
Yeah,
that?
the thing that you do that's very different from therapy is that it's more proactive to getting your life in gear. And I noticed doing therapy, things went along fine.
Yeah.
But I didn't jump on my life. I just kept going and existing. I'd say that's the difference.
Okay, say that last part again. I want to make sure I heard you correctly.
I was existing.
Good one.
And staying alive on the planet. I think that's the thing that therapy definitely helps with.
Yes. Yeah, it helped you to survive your life and exist. But you're saying it didn't get you to the next big milestone, and it didn't really catapult your life in any way.
No, it did not.
Yeah, it didn't for me either. It certainly helped, I will not put that down, but it did not catapult me into, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Like now I feel invincible and powerful, and I'm going to go out and get my life working.
Right. Your coaching did that. I really shifted my gears and started I wasn't sitting around waiting anymore. And I always felt that if I got into gear and did action, that I was pushing in some way. I'm not going to get what I needed, but you proved me wrong.
Yeah, that's my job. Just doing my job. Oy, oy, oy. Yeah, and it, because that's what it did for me. Now, granted, I had to figure a lot of things out on my own, but I learned basic neuroscience, and I had been a closet psychologist since I was a child. I read a lot of self-help books. I was always searching and seeking, but I was able to finally figure the whole thing out just based on my own life and my own experiences. But what we can say is I remember, because this was years ago. Wow, time flies when you're having fun. When you came to me, you wanted to pursue acting. You were doing commercials, but you weren't really doing what was quite passionate, what you were more passionate about. Also, you had the eternal excuse of having to care for your mother.
That's right.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I call it an almost justifiable excuse. Almost.
Yes,
right?
You're
Justifiable.
correct. I definitely believe I hooked into that as an excuse of why not too.
Yeah. Yeah. And not to say, stop taking care of your mother. No, that's not it.
Right.
Is we can have it all. It's a juggle, and the struggle's real, and it takes everything, but you were able to work that out with your mother because you gain the confidence and the courage to speak up and stand for what you wanted in your life. You want to go over that and re-presence that? Remember what happened?
Yes. Well, after you and I discussed my passion, I think it was one of your workshops where we had to write out what we were passionate about. And I remember, the acting came definitely right into the center of that for me. And you said to me, well, but I said, I am doing that. And you said, well, how do you see yourself doing it that you would love it most? And I said, gosh, I think I would really love to do maybe, serious acting, not just the commercial. So that's when I decided, gosh, but I can't let go of the commercial because I actually make money doing that. And, and I have the agents and everything to go with it. And you were like, yeah, but you got to look at the big picture here. And as scary as it might seem, I decided, okay, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm going to go for the serious acting. And little by little, the other went away.
Wow, yeah.
So that even the industry changed commercially. That commercials are not the big moneymaker anymore.
Oh.
Union commercials, that is. It's been bought out, and a lot of casting people will just decide to go non-union.
Oh, wow.
So that's what they're doing.
Right, because they can. And it's, especially with the internet and YouTube and everything, there's they can't control the market anymore. But
Nope.
So very interesting. So I held you accountable for what you said you really wanted in your life, what you were most passionate about, what you desired in your heart.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And you listened, you were coachable and trainable, and then you took action. And so then cut to how did that go for you?
Well, it was definitely a road because things were starting to change just by focusing out on that. But the main thing that started happening is my acting coach asked me if I wanted to get involved with the teaching program.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, you know what, I'll go for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's for, it would be, it would mean that I could take as many acting classes there as I wished.
Oh, wow.
Every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought, well, this is a way to just jump in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
This is a Karen move, I think.
Yeah.
Let's go jump right into this.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was like, whoa, but I did it, and I will tell you that after I did it, then I started teaching, and then I got a weekly teaching position, and all of a sudden, I kind of noticed my acting was changing. It was getting better.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow. And people would say, you really, you have this down. And I was like, really? So then I started going out on auditions and getting what I hadn't gotten in years was a lot of positive feedback. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, and then all of a sudden I got cast in the, $40 million picture. And I was like, well, I guess I'm doing better than I was doing for sure.
Oh my God, the proof is in the pudding. Absolutely. You started getting roles. You started to get you weren't doing commercials, you were getting real acting roles in films. Yes.
I was.
Uh-huh. And you did. And so how many films have you done now?
Oh, since what's it been about? 7 since since I saw you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I've got 6 that I'm cast in that have not gone that haven't gone forward yet. They've got the cast and they're waiting for the date.
Okay.
So,
yes. But it works.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. It's worked very well because I would not be doing what I'm doing if somebody named Karen Lovely hadn't called me out on my crap and said, you're obviously not that happy doing what you're doing because I wasn't. I was kind of like, okay, I'm doing all right, and I'm doing something in the line of what I love, but it definitely isn't the exact. It's nothing near the same.
Right.
And it just really it had bothered me for years that I wasn't really doing what I loved.
Wow.
But I kind of just took second seat to it, back seat. I said, okay, that's fine. I'll just do this. And really and truly, if your insight hadn't called me out on it, I probably would have just stuck in that drift and not changed my gears and said, hey, let's get this.
Yeah, and even though we have conscious intentions, even though people say, oh, I want this one day, oh, I see myself doing, there's always been a dream of mine. This is on my bucket list, right? Even though we have great intentions, consciously, unless we really delve into the subconscious and the unconscious blocks that are getting in the way, that stem from early childhood, we will talk a big game, but we won't be able to actually take action and have the courage and self-esteem and wherewithal to go through what it takes to actually make it real. And this Yeah, exactly. So, I say this time and time again. I see it over and over again because I track everything, and everything is case studied, especially all of my clients. Yes. And I'm living proof. Like, if I'm not doing it and I'm not doing the same thing, I have no business preaching it, let alone teaching it. Right? If it's not happening for me as well. That's how I feel. And the last thing we want to do is get stuck in the wheel of it's the self-fulfilling prophecy syndrome, or, the insanity wheel, the hamster wheel, where the definition of insanity, doing the same thing, expecting different results. Over and over again. Right? So what does it take? So again, we can talk a big game, but to actually take action and go. And another thing you did is you opened yourself up for the opportunity to come to you. Right?
That was something that you said.
Yes.
That we absolutely have to keep ourselves open. It may not come exactly as you planned it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but to take the action and keep with the action, and it may come in a totally different way.
And so, it did.
It did. Absolutely it did.
Mm-hmm.
That you're saying that to me was so right on the money every time I look at that.
Yes, because they asked you to be an acting teacher or coach or whatever they're called, instructor. And then you were then allowed to take as many acting classes as you'd like to continue with your dreams, goals, right, and aspirations. And then in that, you became a better actor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And along the pathway, I remember saying to myself, you know what? I really like acting more than I do teaching.
Yes.
But I'm just doing this, and somewhere along here, it may, let's see what happens. I don't know.
Well, yeah. The thing is, if we follow our passion and our bliss, the rest does fall into place. But the key to the whole thing is actually trusting our heart to continue our passion, right? And still be able to pay the bills and keep going after our dreams. You see, everything comes into play.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And, what was it, like 7 years ago, seven and a half years ago, Lady Gaga was a waitress. I think I heard that, at that time it was 5 years. 5 years ago, she was a waitress. I think it's been like 2.5 years since then. But like 7 years. I think even less than 10 years. Right?
Wow.
Meaning we got to do what we got to do to get where we want to be.
Right.
And that's just one of those things. So teaching, what a grand opportunity to earn money, doing something that you were learning. Look, we're always students first and teachers second.
Mm-hmm.
And by you being the teacher and the student, always a student first, this is what helped you become a better actor and to get the roles that you said you wanted to get because you're most passionate about them.
Yeah.
And sure enough, ta-da! You have.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Now, it wasn't all that easy. Let's just quickly look back. And what were the things that we worked through that had you open yourself up to?
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
There were quite a few things that were holding me back. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, my inability to really focus and communicate more precisely, and also, I think I had a little bit of the thing playing the victim, that this is just the way it's going to have to be, or some dialogue in my head that needed to be changed for sure.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, even with your mom, what was it that changed that whole dynamic with your mother, that she no longer became an excuse? Represents that.
A lot
Yeah.
to do with you, interestingly enough. You had me bring her to a workshop, and you asked her some questions, and I was like, wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how you dealt with her was very different than the way that I've been dealing with her.
Mm-hmm.
And you dealt with her as if she was a whole, perfect, and complete person.
Yeah.
And you didn't take all the other little things that we excuse with her, my family excuses and myself excuses. You didn't even play into one of those. You just treated her like a person.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's something that you have you're such a gift to do that. You know, you really understand people so well. Well, you're a life coach, and you're somebody that really takes people for where they're at, and that's not where you see them at. It's like you have a gift. So you see them as what they want to be, or how, and I don't know. I think that takes a lot of intuitive and also going above just face value.
Yeah, but you know, I'm going to be honest with you, is that I trained for it. It wasn't natural, right? The one thing, my greatest gift is understanding the human psyche. I'm coming in as a very old soul to understand the inner workings of our mind and how it works against us, not for us, unless we consciously retrain our brains. And the only reason why I have the gift to such a degree and went into this business is because I had to learn how to deal with myself. And it wasn't pretty. You know, I've always been my own best, worst freaking client on the planet. And I was too smart for my own good, and I didn't want to listen. Right? But it was only because I couldn't see. And yet I was seeking, so I can't say that was 100%. What I know was I guess I should say I thought I knew better, but I didn't know to look for what I didn't know. And that's what made the difference, right? I do have a gift of seeing into, you know, people, but the ability to meet people where they are, all trained, and to treat your mom like a human being and not a victim, right, is because, and I'm highly intuitive, so I use that as well, but I have to say it's because I learned how to do it for myself. And then I help other people do it. So that's what helped me. But your mom, when she came to that dream meeting of mine, it's so funny. You said you told me to bring my mom. I did say, oh, just bring her, right? But I didn't hold a gun to your head. Isn't that interesting? I didn't hold a gun to your head, but I definitely said it would be a really great opportunity, and you did bring her.
Yeah. I thought, well, why? Well, let's try it.
Yeah. And she suffers from Alzheimer's.
It's a cognitive impairment, which is similar to Alzheimer's, but she does have short-term and some long-term memory still going. It's just that there's a lot of little things in there that are, it's almost like a 5-year-old child in ways.
Right. Okay, so the point is, that's another thing, is I do believe in energy, and I do believe, you know, part of really being with people is our energy and not judging not treating a human being like they're less than, or they don't know what they're doing, or, you know, they're actually impaired in any way.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay, but now tell us, you were caring for her. How were you able to shift that? Because I remember distinctly working on holding you accountable and to not use her as an excuse. You remember that
Wow.
part? Mm-hmm.
Very true. I do recall that, and I just said, I've got to get her in a situation where somebody's going to do all that I need to be done.
Yeah.
Because I can't just invest my life continuing to care for my mother, and she's probably going to be around a lot longer than what they told me.
So you were
And
able...
yeah,
go ahead.
she's still around.
And she's still around.
Going.
But the point is, what was it that shifted you to take action in your favor? Do you understand? Like, why weren't you able to do that before?
Oh, there was we talked a lot about self-love,
Mm-hmm.
and that, a lot of the workshop we talked about, I think there was a self-love workshop or something.
Yeah.
Something that you did, and I took part in that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think that I really love myself to the level of saying, okay, I'm going to give myself the opportunity to make my life different,
Mm-hmm.
rather than just sticking in this other. I know I had a lot of self-hatred at that point
Mm-hmm.
for myself. Why was I doing what I was doing for my mother? It was great, but for me, it was not really propelling my life.
Right. So what happens is it was just another form of an excuse for you not to take your life on. But then as you began to fall in love with yourself, I call it mad, passionate love.
I love that.
Yes.
Fall in love with yourself.
Yes. As you began to fall in love with yourself, you were able then to work it out and communicate in such a way that you were no longer her primary caretaker. Right. And you got help with your siblings. And that was because you said, oh, you know what? I no longer need to care for her to prove that I'm worthy within myself. And that's how it is. And so you were able then to be very courageous and say, listen, I can't do this by myself. I need help. And that's what did it, wasn't it?
It did.
Yeah.
It absolutely did.
Mm-hmm.
So I reached out to my sister in England and
Mm-hmm.
and my brother, and I said, listen, I can't do this,
Yeah.
I have way too much going on that I need to tend to.
Right, but
So,
they responded positively, and yet it was there the whole time. The only thing that wasn't there was your courage to take it on and ask.
right.
Right?
So true.
Uh-huh. So what do you see? That's what I see, and this is fundamental, but do you see anything there for yourself?
As far as taking it on and asking and
Uh-huh.
yes. We were talking earlier about the fact that my career is going well. It's just for me, the thing that's lacking is I don't have a positive love life going on. I don't really have one at all. But I have love in my life from people and friends and animals, and that's great. But the thing that I don't have going with all that's happened is, interestingly enough, I don't have the love of my life.
Yeah. So I'm going to address that in just a moment, right? We're going to get to that. But we really want to make sure you stay in the power of your ability to stand up for yourself, believe that you deserve it, and go take action to get what you want out of life, right? And to live life on your terms.
Okay.
Right? So that is why it's so important to re-presence our successes, looking backwards. See, the human brain by default will actually hang on to the past disempowering beliefs. It's up to us to consciously represent what did work in our past, right? Do you remember feeling how great it was that you no longer had to be the primary caretaker with your mother? Do you remember that?
Oh, yes. That was a true relief.
Yes.
And newfound freedom. Absolutely.
Yes, that you created, right? You took responsibility and you created it by reaching out for support because you now said, oh, I deserve it.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh, as you also told me you need to declare that.
Yes. So way to go. I want to acknowledge you and congratulate you and say, wow, job well done. And way to love yourself and put yourself first.
Mm-hmm. And thanks to you, I learned that.
Yeah, exactly. Now, here's the thing, because now you're back and you're like, okay, Karen, you never went too far. And I'd like to come back into coaching. And that's your intention, right? And when you said that to yourself, do you remember what was it that you wanted to focus on? It wasn't your love life. It was go ahead.
It was still the finances and, having a home that's, a really nice place to live. I have a nice place to live, but I wanted to embellish on those things. I want, a bigger, better.
Yeah. So then you're like, oh yeah, okay, I want to up the ante, right? Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You want to level up. So you're like, oh yeah. So then in all honesty, did you think of me or other people or other ways?
I thought of you because I remembered, I said, well, hello. There's, there was one way that I got to where I got to, and I knew that, and I've accredited you, and I've said to myself, wow, this was just, but I still have things that I want to do.
Yeah, that's great.
Wow, I think I need to go back to, doing some work with Karen, because these things are coachable things. I think, they're not like, but I can't coach myself with it. I want to invest in myself and get somebody to help me.
Yeah. Now, what's so funny? I love this is that's the whole thing. None of us can do it by ourselves. And if you think, I like to say this at this, I started this business in 2011 and I keep leveling up and wanting to coach the next level. And so I like to say I coach the Olympians of life, right? The Olympians, the ones who are going for it with no endorsements. That's the thing about, it's one thing to be a professional athlete. It's another thing to be an Olympic athlete. You compete with the best of the best in the world, and most do not have the endorsements. So it's pure passion and love, isn't it? It's like, whoa, okay. Now, that said, it's so funny. People think if you want to be a quote unquote Olympian of life and have everything, and I say go for everything. That's another thing. I'm not a downsizer. I'm a constant upsizer. But I'm an upsizer, but I'm not attached to materialism. I'm not, I'm not the one that has to have money and I have to have this and I have the next best car and the next best iPhone or Android. No. But I want what I want, and these top of the line show horses do not feed themselves. Right? And I'm going to go for it.
To be true.
That's right? So if we think, I'll be dead honest. If we think we want it all in life and we're not willing to hire people to help us along the way, the coaches, we're crazy, right? And I've hired so many. I've spent more money invested in myself is well worth it. Otherwise, I'd be dead as a doornail right now. Dead, right? But imagine an Olympic athlete and you're here I'm a coach of an Olympic athlete, so to speak, metaphorically, and I'm like, well, okay, Michael Phelps, you take care now. Have fun at the next Olympic Games, okay? Just text me and let me know how your races go. Could you imagine? No.
Yeah.
All these athletes travel with their team of coaches most of the year. A tennis player, I forget his name. All I could remember was I was astounded by 12 coaches traveling with him 10 months of the year. Actually, I think it's 11 coaches, but who cares? 11 coaches. Could you imagine? 10 months of the year. He had the diet coach, the endurance coach, the stretch coach, all the forehand coach, the backhand coach, the serving, the lob coach. You're just like, wow, right? And so I love that you went out, applied what I had taught you, what we had practiced, what you were getting, connecting your dots your way, okay? And now you're like, wow, this is great. I want to level up. I want to get to the next level. I want this, this, and this. And now we can talk about, ta-da, right? For you showing up to represent, all the great things that I've been able to help you accomplish and facilitate in your process, your journey. Now it's like, it's interesting because before we started recording, I said, will you just tell me what you'd like to work on today as part of the podcast? And you're like, well, I don't know. Should we do this, this, and this? And then it comes down to what? Now you can go back to it. You picked what?
I picked love.
Yeah. Oh my God. You picked romantic love. Is that what we're talking about?
Which is, mm-hmm. I don't know why I picked that.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about it, but
Uh-huh.
It's a different thing that I feel is something I would like in my life. I haven't focused on it.
Mm-hmm. Good one. Okay, so I love this topic, love. Right? Romance.
It's your middle name.
It is. Karen Love Lee. And then it's like, oh yeah, love yourself and then allow yourself to be loved. Oh. Ooh. Wow. So here's the thing. I love this. Dr. Pat Allen, cognitive therapist, has been a relationship guru for years and years and years, like way ahead of her time, pioneer in love. The one thing, I don't agree with every single thing that she says, but the one thing I do, it resonates with me more than anything. You ready? And it's in the realm of love, romantic love. She says, men fall in love, women love themselves. Oh!
Whoa,
Damn, girl. Oh, Patricia, damn, girl.
I didn't tell you this, but I did therapy with her.
Oh my God, you did therapy with Dr. Pat. And how did that go?
Oh, boy. Well, she was tough,
yes.
Man. She was, she put me in tears, but I did learn from her. I just, it was tough love, that's for sure. Woo.
Oh, yeah, she's tough love. Okay, so compare me to her. I'd love to be compared to her.
You're on the same level. I mean, you really are. You're both on the same level.
Wow.
I was definitely in a love relationship, what I thought was a love relationship when I went to her.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my friends said, well, you need to go see Dr. Pat Allen and tell her about your love relationship. And
oh my God.
The more that I sat there and talked about my love relationship, the more she said, this is not really a true love relationship. Can you see this? Can you see this? And I was like, oh my God. Because even though he was calling his wife at the time, his ex-wife, the reason I went to her is I didn't know what to do because I just found out the news that he was still married.
Okay.
After we'd been together for a year. So she was pretty clear as to what to do.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and you know what? I mean, she's right, but then we have to meet people at where they are. So was it effective, you think?
Yeah, it was. I got myself out of that relationship.
Good.
That was not a a 100% true love relationship because of where the guy was at.
Yeah, Dr. Pat does not have the greatest bedside manner. Actually, I went to her seminars, so she's not for everybody because I thought I was tough, but she's one tough cookie. She looks tough. She acts tough. Actually, her forte is comedy. But the point is, right, you went to her for love, and now you're asking me about love. Isn't that interesting? I'm saying, why don't you go back to Dr. Pat? I know, she scares me,
She's scary.
She's scary.
Yeah.
And in a good way. But, man, she doesn't mess around. She'll tell you like it is, and you better be able to hang and handle it.
You better.
Yeah.
You better.
Because she put you in tears. So that could be good. But sometimes, for me, I know personally that this is why I have to meet people where they are. And sometimes I don't want to. I want to Dr. Pat them, But I know that I need to be met where I am. And that's why it's so vitally important to connect with the right person that can help you. And sometimes we have to have different people helping us in different areas, right? But it's interesting. I love that you picked love and romance because I don't talk about it very much, about love and romance.
Yeah.
What I do talk about is loving yourself first and foremost. So the thing is always is I am a self-love coach. I have my clients fall madly, passionately in unconditional love with self and the little inner child and our inner child, right? That is my shtick. That's my jam. Now, to then get into a relationship with our significant other is the hardest, most challenging, self-reflective experience of our lives, and it takes everything and then some.
God, maybe we should change the subject.
Oh my God, you just answered your own question, didn't you? Why don't you have a love in your life? You just answered it. Because it takes everything. Mm-hmm. Right? And you earlier said you haven't focused on it. We have to set our sights on what we desire without being attached to it or having any expectations whatsoever. So number one, deep down you want it, but you've been afraid at some level to really face it and go for it.
I'm thinking back to when I've always had relationships, coming forward to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of, I think I always was doing a lot for myself, as you're saying, you invest it in yourself, and women have to fall in love with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
In order to have that attracted to you. Is that it?
Yes. Well, so number one is that we really, as women especially, we better freaking be freaking madly, freaking passionately in love with ourselves unconditionally first and foremost to really get this thing going with anyone, especially a love relationship, right? Like, get that handled, people, which is my whole shtick, right?
Well, I have not been in love with myself as far as, there's so many levels of self that I just have let go of that I need to put back into the, to put back into the realm of self-love. I really feel like I need to do a lot more.
Yes. And this is a forever, for the rest of our lives, we've got to train for self-love and self-respect.
Yeah.
And self-care.
I do the things I need to do to get by.
Right.
But for me, as I recall, the times that I had love coming at me,
mm-hmm.
I was going to the gym. I had the whole, everything was taken care of on the physical, and also I was doing a lot of self-love things as far as I was always doing my I would go to groups. I would do all sorts of stuff for self-love and self-awareness and just so that, I'd be on the spiritual realm of love and all that stuff, but I haven't been doing that stuff in a long time.
Yes.
So, hence, that's where we at.
Yeah. So, yeah, is that interesting? Uh-huh. Yeah.
I know. It's really wild. You're like pointing it right out to me. I'm going, uh-oh.
Yeah. And so connect the dots again.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that I've got to start doing again so that I, feel my own self-love.
Yes. Yes. Now, I only say that for people because I want to talk about this a little bit. I'm saying that is the best way because, look, this is why. This is for both men and women. I also coach men. As a matter of fact, I've had several clients, males, that came to me for love. And it goes both ways. Like it's both for men and women, but they specifically knew they wanted love. Right? And so,
okay.
Yeah. So they had their sights set on it. And it's a little different with men. They still have to love and respect themselves. We still have to do that. Okay? But then we have to continue to train for it all along the way. If you want to have any 11 or 12 coaches, I would highly suggest that we all have 11 or 12 coaches in the realm of romantic love. That's where we need it the most. Because what we end up doing is subconsciously, unconsciously attracting the very person who cannot give us the very thing that we want. That is, yes. Because it's all based on the subconscious, unconscious phenomenon.
And how do you get the person that you want? Do you have to be that person that you want?
Yes. So,
Ooh.
Yes. And that's what I've always preached, is be the person that you want to be in love with and loved by.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Well, now that's probably why I have not been. I've been looking out and saying, this is what I want, but I'm not being that want.
Yes. And so this is really, oh my gosh. Okay. So another thing we do. Yeah. Okay. Woo! Go ahead.
Moment has arrived.
Wait, say that again.
Woo!
Yeah.
The upper moment has arrived.
Oh my God.
Karen Lovely moment.
Yep. There it is.
Boy.
Uh-huh.
There it is.
There it is. Okay.
There it is, girl.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why it's so imperative. Because as human beings, what we do by default, and we don't even know it unless we train differently and newly, is we actually go and attract the very person that we're trying to heal ourselves through.
Isn't that funny? So we attract a lot of times what we really aren't wanting.
Yeah, we end up attracting the same wound. Or we attract the person who complements our already existing wounds. And better yet, feeds right into them and throws salt on them.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is the whole opposites attract.
Gosh, so I suppose with this, man, you've given me some homework.
Yeah. Right? Like, this is a big, big deal.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Right?
Let me find that pen. Let me find that list. Oh, I'll be checking. There's about 20 things we got to start working on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you're going to train for anything, train for love. And we can never lose if we really know how to love ourselves first and foremost.
Yeah.
Because even, okay, so let's just say this is the fear of success. So you end up training, you manifest the love of your life, okay? And then it's dealing with that love of our life on a daily basis and sustaining that love over time. See, people don't prepare for that. Right? And let's just say this. Let's just say you have that person, everything's honky-dory, you're living, the Disneyland life, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, that's wonderful, but God forbid that person dies. Now what? You see, by loving ourselves and knowing how to respect and love ourselves, we can never lose because death is inevitable. So this is why it's so vitally important. Also, the art of communication. So it's really important that we learn and have the courage to communicate.
Oh, yeah.
And that'll do it. Right? Now, people can say, well, gee, Karen, you don't have a love relationship. True. Right? But the one thing...
You've had love relationships. And
yes, I have. Yes.
Is this something that you want right now to take on?
No. And as a matter of fact, I know the man I'm meant to be with. I know who that man is. And when the time is right, we will cross paths because that's how I work. I work and I set my sights on something, right? I set my intention. And then I let it go. And it will happen when it's meant to happen. Now, if it never happens, I'm still good. See, at this point in my life, I'm not going to settle.
Right.
But I also, truth be told, it is not the number one priority in my life.
Yep.
Right? Meaning, I don't know if I said that exactly how I thought I wanted to say it. Let's say it this way. Is the reason why he's not here with me today is because I am still working on fulfilling my purpose. And that's been my main focal point.
Okay.
You see?
Now what if it's not my main focus? Am I still going to be able to, by falling in love with myself, I still may be able to attract this other person?
Oh, nothing more attractive and magnetic than a woman who's in love with herself. And not in a narcissistic, superficial, pretentious way, but and that we know you're not that person. In a self-respecting, self-loving, self-nurturing, self-caring, good, decent human being way.
Okay. All right.
You tell me. Think about that. If you know somebody who respects themselves, is not codependent, not an addict in any way, that's detrimental, right? Who's a good, decent, compassionate human being doing good for the world, would you want to associate with that person?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Well, then that's how easy that is. So here's the thing. You just said it, Jennifer, is that you realize in this conversation, you asked for love and I'm about to give it to you and you're like, wait a minute, let's change the subject. Whoa.
You know what? The one thing I can tell you
yes,
is that I am all about falling in love with myself again.
Yes.
I have not been in love with myself. And, and I think I've even said so much to the other side of it, that then I realized, oh my gosh, I know why I'm not in a love relationship, just as you plainly said. You have to fall in love with yourself. Well, I've kind of denied my self-love in many ways.
Yes, exactly. And I'm saying this is the best way. From my point of view, there are many people out there who still want that relationship and they're not even close to loving themselves, let alone even know who they are. Okay? But I went through that over and over again. I went through one guy, especially when my sister died. Men, I didn't even remember their names. Next. And I had long-term relationships. I always have been in monogamous long-term relationships, so I was very fortunate to have those experiences, to know that at this point in my life, I will never settle. Like, I'm not going to settle and just to have a guy in my life. Now, by the way, that is one of the most attractive things to men, is a woman they can barely get.
That's absolute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, I'm not playing games, but my point is, I've been very fortunate to have some really good relationships under my belt, so to speak. I went through a phase after my sister died. I was loving them and leaving them, and then, had to move on. I'm never going to judge myself for that. It was the phase I went through, and none of those guys was I ever holding a gun to their head, right? 2 consenting adults, so there it is. And now I realize I have big dreams and goals and big callings and purposes, and I have a life that I want to fulfill upon and share that life with my soulmate, my beloved, right? And my best friend. You see? And so I'm willing, yes, I'm willing to train for that and allow it to happen organically. I also believe in soulmates and in past lives, right? So the person I'm meant to be with, we've been together already in a past life, in many past lives.
Right.
So it's there. Now, am I waiting around? No. Am I saying, oh, I've got to? No, I'm not attached to it. What has had me in all my dating life, what has had me have such a successful dating life in some really great relationships and many marriage proposals, is that I didn't really care that much.
Okay, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What was your focus on?
My focus was, guess what? My focus has always been on my sense of self and being in love with myself instead of hating myself and wanting to kill myself all the time. That was my focus.
Oh, okay. Well, that killing yourself thing wasn't good.
Yeah, right? But just most people have a sense of self and really be madly, passionately in love with you. That's what I would say above all.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, and this has just been a real revelation of the day. I mean, thank you so much for asking me to do a podcast with you. Now I realize, oh my gosh, all the missing pieces.
Yes.
And what I need, what my journey for 2018 includes falling in love with myself again.
Yes.
So this is definitely a great opening for all that. Wow.
Yeah, and they've done studies, one study after another, about men, even like 18 and over men. The number one thing that they wanted in a woman was self-confidence. Mm-hmm. Yes. So what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, there is no loss of love, romantic love, relationship opportunities for those people who really are committed to being the best they can be within self.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so there's a lot of opportunities for self-loving, self-worthy, self-deserving, good, decent human beings. And if somebody says, oh, there are no good men in LA. Oh, there are no great women in Chicago. Oh, there are no great people. Call me. Let's talk. Can we talk? Can we talk? Okay. Right? Mm-hmm. And I have many opportunities everywhere I go. And I believe it.
Yes. I believe it. Because you're open.
Yeah, and I mean...
And you love yourself.
I do.
You do a lot of self-fulfillment things, and that's what you teach.
Mm-hmm. I mean, some of the opportunities I have are frightening good. Meaning, yikes. Right? Oh my God, right? But I think to myself, just recently, I can't name names, but some of these guys, it's just like, wow, they were south of 30 years old. I don't even believe in age, but man, I can't, I'm just thinking to myself, oh my God, if only I could just go out with every guy and just like run like the wind with them. But I can't, because I'm not going to be in integrity with myself and what I ultimately want, knowing that I have a soulmate out there. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Right? Like I could be out there dating up a storm with highly gorgeous, eligible men over and over again. But is that really what I want for myself and my life at this time? No, I don't. Because I know ultimately they're not the one for the rest of my life.
Right, because you do know that your soulmate is...
Yep. Yes. I know my soulmate, but I also know, like, it's a tall order of the man that I'm going to be with. Do you understand? Like, I know at this point in my life.
Yeah. Imagine that, because I see where you're at. Mm-hmm. So to get the reflection of that, that person has to be on a different, they have to be on the same level as you.
Or higher. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Higher, yeah.
Yeah. So, we can go through the whole list, but when that's all I've trained for. I had no other choice but to train to be in love with myself, coming from such desperate self-hatred and self-loathing and self-sabotage.
Right.
Yeah. And so now it's paying off, because now sometimes I think, gee, if the one thing that has always scared the crap out of me has been, what if I'm with the one, but he then dies? Oh my God. Right? How am I going to deal with that? Yeah. It's like, that's the worst thing, is to be with someone and then they're dead. Like, there's no chance of reconciliation. That's a big ordeal. Right? And I don't know why I would think that, but I remember as a kid across the street, because this imprints in our minds, one of our neighbors, and we were on a cul-de-sac, so we're always as kids playing in this cul-de-sac, but the one family across the street, directly across the street, her husband died and she never recovered. She was a bona fide alcoholic and a miserable shrew of a woman. Right? And we'd always get in trouble. Oh no, don't go over to their house. Don't throw the ball on their lawn. She's going to come out and yell at you. Like that scary neighbor, we had that. I know. Like, don't play ball in the house. Like, don't throw the ball over there. And we're like, oh no. I don't want to name names either, but what I can say is she ended up dying in that house, lonely and broken. Wow. And she never recovered. And I always remember that has imprinted in me. And then me also coming from what I came from, what I know is when we know who we are, and it's still going to be sad to like be with the love of your life, your soulmate, and then God forbid, knock wood, that person dies. But I know I could get through it. I know I could, be okay in the face of it all. And I know that also having lost my sister. So imagine being that self-loving, that self-worthy, that self-respectful. I'm not saying I'm a stone and I'm not going to grieve and be unhappy. But what I do know is I don't have that codependent, it was up to me to save him. I could have, done better. All of that crap goes away. But it's still constant training until the end. And so what you can see here is you signed up. You said, Karen, now I want to go for the love of my life. I said, great, let's talk about that. And you just connected the dots for yourself to see that maybe you're just not quite ready to focus on that.
I'm not ready, but I have left the self-love back in I think it was back in the 90s or early 2000s with my last relationship.
Yeah, okay, good. See, that's really beautiful that you can see that. That is very, very profound and wise of you.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's what I would start with first, always for everybody. No matter how old we are, because it has everything to do with 19 years old and under. 19 years old and under is what we really have to go back and see and rewrite all those wounded childhood scripts. And that'll do it. And then it's having someone to hold our hand along the way when we start back out dating and when it's not working and he's not calling and then he hasn't called, and then you're not sure how the date went. And then, oh God, let's not even talk about sex. Oh, we're talking about sex. But then we got to deal with that, right? There's so many things to deal with in a relationship.
Huge amount.
Now,
I mean, yeah. I definitely know that going on the pathway to self-love, I think I'm going to better myself and also find that the attraction level will step itself up.
Absolutely. Right. And then it's making sure we're not going and attracting the person that is not really the most powerful person in our life, no matter how much we're attracted to them.
Right.
See, it's a very tricky mix, but again, it's well worth it. Ask any Olympic athlete. They may not, right? Gee, Michael, was it worth it to train for 8 years minimum from 7 years old before your first Olympics? Gee, Michael, was it worth it to train again for your second, your third, your fourth, your fifth Olympics? Was it worth it? Of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? If only we trained that religiously, that devoutly, that that committedly for love. Could you imagine?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's no small potatoes where everybody puts it into, just go out there and date. Well, that's been, in preparation for that, I want to attract the best that I can. So I've got to shift where I'm at so that I'm at that same level.
Yes, exactly. And that you feel worthy. Yeah.
Right.
Because you have to ask yourself. Yes, you can.
Definitely going to be that training for the Olympics. You
know?
Mm-hmm.
And again, like you do that and everything else falls into place. Marilyn Monroe said it, and love yourself, but she didn't love herself enough. She was wanting to desperately. And who else says that? Lucille Ball, one of my most favorite comedian actresses of all time. Lucille Ball, I was just watching documentaries on her. Amazing, right? But it's really loving yourself and the rest falls into place. It's really true. It's really true. And it's one thing, again, to say, and then it's really another thing to follow through and be willing to be coached and trained and have people who know to help us, people who have been through it, right? To help us, And I do. I mean, men, oh my God, that has been the one easiest, best thing for me in terms of anything. If I look back now and I think, why is that? And I'll tell you why. Is because I didn't care that much. I wasn't attached to it. And I also knew at some level, this is my old soul coming through, that I didn't have myself enough to share my life with somebody. And that's what stopped me and saved me from getting married. I would have been divorced at least 3 times if I hadn't chosen myself first, because I was desperate to have my sense of self. Does that make sense?
It sure does.
Yeah, that's deep, isn't it? So the one thing I can say, and I'm really proud of, is I didn't get married, right? To try to love myself through somebody else. Because that's what it really is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you weren't ready. You weren't loving yourself.
No, I wasn't even close. I didn't even want to be here. I didn't even want to live, let alone love myself. So that's why I think this is really awesome and the best way to go, because you can never ever lose. And I love, Jennifer, how courageous, how wise and enlightened you are and evolved to say, oh, gee, Karen, I'm glad I asked for the love of my life, but I still need me to be the love of my life. Right? You're like, wait, stop the presses. Yeah. Let's revisit this topic. I love it. And that right there is the biggest aha of this.
Well, it is, because it's like everybody will say to you, I mean, a lot of people
Uh-huh.
say that you say, say a group of you're with it. So who are you dating? What are you doing? Are you la? And I'm always thinking, I got to get back to that. I definitely got to get back to that. Well, whoa, it is all about going back to you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's...
So this is going to be a definite good journey, and and I'm so excited for the future of it.
Yeah, and congratulations, because it is the best thing that I'll leave you with this. Like, I know that when the energy tracks and matches, that's when I believe my soulmate will appear, and then I can go, oh my gosh, I really deep down feel like I have myself for me more than I ever have in my entire life. And then I can go for the gold. Do you see that?
Absolutely.
That's very profound. Yeah. And then there's more training. Then I have to do the whole thing when he's in my life and he's got his career and he's doing his thing and he's traveling all over the world. And are we working together? Are we, do we have the same agenda? Do we have the same aspirations? And then we got to work through that. It's a dance. It's a dance. And you see, that's why we can never stop.
Right. Doesn't.
But as a highly purposeful, independent, self-loving woman with a divine calling as a human being on this planet, right? I know that there's only one way, there's only one choice for me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Not saying it's this
does.
one person. There's only one choice for me to keep going in alignment with that, so that I can fulfill upon my every dream and desire and have partnership with my soulmate and my beloved, because I don't have time to be weighted down. I don't have time to get sidetracked.
Right.
When death is inevitable. So I'm mitigating as much as humanly possible, distracting myself. Easily I could be dating amazing men, right? From all walks of life that are good, decent, wonderful human beings. But if I know ultimately it's not the end game for me, am I really doing anyone a good thing, being of service to them, or being a disservice? You see?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And I'm telling you, there are a couple times I was so tempted, and I'm like, Karen, are you out of your mind? Right? Are you out of your freaking mind? Like, go ahead, date him, but where is that going to go? As he's a struggling actor. Seriously. Right? You're like, what? Like, seriously, as sweet and hot as you are? And you're just now going, I think I need to take some more acting classes. Okay, you know what? Bonk! Right?
Exactly.
But it was so tempting. So tempting. Because he was just like the sweetest, and we had a connection, a soulmate connection. But I had to really think. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to say no to. And I had to, so I wouldn't get distracted off my path, knowing that it wouldn't end up in the very thing that I want. I want to be with my soulmate, my beloved, and married. Which I never thought I'd ever say, by the way. I never wanted to get married.
Wow.
And turned down many a men who've asked. The minute they even mention it, I ran. Runaway bride right here. Right? And the only reason I can say that is my goal, but I'm not attached to it, is because of all this work I've done for myself to love myself that much.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So the work works. The technology works.
And the work works.
The self-love freaking works, people. Okay.
Stay committed to that is where it's at.
Yes. Yes. And I really do.
This has most definitely been, an enlightening conversation here. I will say that. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you for being here with us. And I really love.
Incredible.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really love.
And I'm looking forward to doing more work. Because that's only only the work takes you to the next level.
It really
I'm
does.
convinced about that.
Yes. Yes. And is it work or is it just the practice of...
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Well, it's just the practice of really honoring self and the inner child, the little child within. That's all it is. And it's worth it. And it shows up as work a lot, but if we go, oh God, it's a lot of work. No, just know that it's a journey. And
exactly.
Yeah. And to really be madly, passionately in love with ourselves takes something. Whatever we want to call it. It takes energy.
Huge difference.
Yes. Yeah. And it's fun. And it's like, okay, here's the best thing. It's so freaking freeing. It's ridiculous. How fun is it to not have to go, oh, I should be dating. Oh, shouldn't I be like checking out that new app to date? I don't have time for that crap, quite frankly. Right?
I know.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
No, thank you.
Because honestly, there's a lot of dishonesty on that whole, people are not always 100%. And who knows?
Yes.
But I just see that, I'd rather meet someone face value. And I know that that's the way I've ruled my career is it's all sort of fallen into line. I didn't do any online applications.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you. Yes.
Here we are.
Here we are.
So.
And so you're amazing. And I mean.
Well, so are you. Gosh.
Oh, thank you so much.
This has been just absolutely a pleasure. And an eye-opener, a big, big kick in the pants.
I know the last thing.
A big kick in my big girl pants. That's what it is.
Yeah, you don't ever want to mention what you want in front of me, people. Right? Because I will say, great, you want it? Let's go get it. And then people are like, what? Right. Wait, what? Wait, what?
Whoa, wait, what? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's scary. But I love that you can see there's some other prerequisite things to do and right, love to be had within self, and that'll do it. So as you're just working on that, you become more magnetic, more attractive, and the opportunities just show up, just like the opportunity of the acting school where you're, asked you to be one of the teachers. They came to you.
Right.
So same thing will happen here. And then you're like, okay, no pun intended, start auditioning the men to take you out on dates, right? Call time, Absolutely. 7 a.m. I'm doing auditions, right? That's how I would do it. Okay, taking auditions for the next date. But anyway, and I say that as metaphorically, but then you get to call the shots. Do you see? Then you get to go, oh, yes, yes, no, yes, yes, no. And you get to be the one to say yes because all your suitors are coming to you.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to them. That's what I really believe too.
No, yes to letting that happen. Absolutely.
Yeah. So to sum it up, any last words? I think you're amazing and beautiful and brilliant. I just think you're incredible. Any last words of wisdom here?
Last words of wisdom
in terms of anything, like in summation.
From me
from you. Yeah.
All I can say is, once I focused and pointed the sail in the right direction via working with you, everything has shifted in my life, and it's calling attention to that which you want and what where you focus, right?
Yeah. Yes. Right. You really set your intentions. We're focused, and then we're not attached. In other words, we don't use it to define us, but we want to really keep, how I say it? Keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye on the prize, right? And yes, we want to definitely stay focused, set our intentions, and then align ourselves and do whatever we have to do to continue that alignment to fruition, right? To obtain that which we desire most and say we want it. And we have to put it out there, whether it's money, the next acting gig, the next role, right? The next client, the next opportunity, we do have to declare it and say, oh, that's what I'm working on. Right now, I hear you declaring right on the docket is self-love, and revisiting that because you can see that you have kind of put that on the back burner.
Yeah, but what a great thing for every area of your life,
Exactly.
Karen. I mean,
Bingo.
I that's what I was like going, oh man, oh, where is that thing? That thing
Yes.
has not been on my forefront at all.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so by you showing up and seizing the opportunity, because I invited you to be on my podcast, and also is because you had shared with me all your successes of when we were in coaching and what has transpired because you have been proactive. So congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Girlfriend, you got this. So just applying yourself, right? Oh my God.
I'm excited. I'm definitely excited to go in this venture.
Oh yeah.
And I'm even more excited for the future for yourself because you are so on it, man. You just really are able to give people such a gift and bring forth. It's finding, getting your dreams met. And man, who else focuses on that?
Exactly. Call me crazy. Call me foolish. Thank you, Steve Jobs. Call me foolish and crazy. Is if I believe, I'm crazy enough and foolish enough to think that I could have everything I ever dreamed of in life. And most likely then I'll get it because I'm that crazy and foolish to believe that I can.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so I just got to go with it. Yeah. And so, that's my mantra. That's my story. And I'm sticking to it. And I'm saying it ain't for everybody. But by golly, it's for me. And clearly it's for you. And that's all that matters, right? So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here and bringing your beautiful spirit onto the podcast.
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, of course. And I want to have you back again just to joke around and have some fun, especially because you are an actor. And we'll do that again.
I wanted to also, I as what I had the upcoming films that I have that are going to be opening here in the United States, I would love to have you come with me to one of the premieres. The next
oh my God. One. Oh, I graciously accept. Oh my gosh. And I would love to.
Do it.
Yes. Oh my God. Count me in, girl. Count me in.
Yes, you betcha.
Oh,
you betcha.
Wow. And I'm just going to be so proud and gleaming. Oh my God. I know her. I need her autograph. Oh my God. How fun. I love it.
Coaching to the stars.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. And especially the fall. I call them the fallen angels, the broken ones.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm, speaking of which, if anyone wants to get in touch with me, you just email me at KarenLoveLee@gmail.com. gmail.com. Is that right? No, at Gmail. I don't even know what it's called. Just Google me. I'll show up. Karen Love Lee, right? Hashtag it. Google me. It's all there. Facebook. But the best way is you can messenger me from Facebook, KarenLove.Lee, or Karen Lovely Dreams. That's Facebook. But just Google me. And I would love to hear from you. And if you're interested in any private coaching, we will set up a time, and I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone who's interested. So Jennifer, my gosh, I can't thank you enough. You are beyond magnificent. And
Thank
you probably get some dates off this podcast.
You never know.
But you're going to say, sorry, not available. I'm busy falling in love with myself. And that's beautiful.
Oh, you are so funny. We love the comedy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
One of the great things you have. You have such a gift with comedy.
Oh, yes. So that's part of it, too. So I'm bringing that into the podcast and practicing.
This has been just really fantastic. Thank you so much.